tell you. What marriage? Oh, I thought you knew. Why, the marriage Mrs. Levi is arranging between Mr. Horace Vandergelder, yonder's well-known half-a-millionaire, and my employer and friend, Mrs. Irene Malloy. Although if you were to ask me, he'll never take the place of her late husband, Mr. Peter Malloy, may he rest in peace wherever he is. I'm not sure. He was a caution, you know. Oh, it's all too much, what with late husbands and new marriages, and on top of everything else, Miss Mortimer returning this hat for the 3rd time. Same old story, she tells me. She wants more cherries and feathers, to catch a beau, I suppose. Although if you were to ask me, she'd do better with a nice heavy veil. I told her, ribbons down her back is what we'll be wearing this summer if we want to catch a gentleman's eye. But she'd have none of it. Cherries and feathers she wants on today, out of all days, when that poor, dear, sweet Mrs. Malloy has enough on her mind.
With what, Minnie?
The door is stuck.
It's stuck? Then pull.
For the things I've said and the things I'm going to say. But as long as I've gone this far, I may as well go all the way. Why, Mrs. Malloy, why?
Say it, Minnie. Why have I decided to marry Horace Vandergelder?
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, I didn't ask you that. I'd rather die in a rack than ask you such a personal question. But as long as you did bring it up.
I'm marrying Horace Vandergelder for one reason and one reason alone, Minnie. To get away from the millinery business. I hate hats.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy.
And I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman with nothing to show for
it.
Oh,
Mrs. Malloy.
Don't protest, Minnie. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. That's why I can't go into restaurants or balls or theaters. That's all the proof they need. Take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandergelder or I break out of this place like a fire engine. Not Miss Mortimer again.
Miss Mortimer, I'll take care of it.
Leave it be, Minnie. You can make another hat for Miss Mortimer if you like. I'll be wearing this one myself.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, you can't. You're a widow, and that hat, well, it's provocative. That's what.
Is it, Minnie? Well, who knows? We may walk into the shop this afternoon, and provocative may be just what I want to be.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy!
I'll be wearing ribbons down my back this summer, blue and green and streaming in the yellow sky. So if someone special comes my way summer, he might notice me passing by, and so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July, because a breeze might stir a rainbow up behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye, and he might smile and take me by the hand this summer. Can be, and so I will proudly wear ribbons down my back him. It was my share of love, and I'm not saying I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman if it was true love, and it was that. Minnie, look! There's two men staring at the shop!
Men?
Why, I do believe they mean to come in here.
Men? In the shop? Oh, Mrs. Malloy, what shall we do?
Do? Why, flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, and you with all that talk about love.
Love, enough I've had, Minnie. It's a bit of adventure I could do with now. Get them all heated up and then drop them cold. It'll be good practice for married life. Now, Minnie, you go back to the workroom. I know some ways we can perk up our appearances. Besides, a bit of weight will only make them nervous and easier for us to...
If you say vampire, I'll scream!
Vampire!
Ah!
And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July, because a breeze might stir a rainbow up behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye. Oh, Minnie, we'll get an adventure out of this yet.
Oh, we'll get an adventure out of this yet, Barnaby. All day long we wander around New York and, well, nothing happens, but then we come to the quietest street in New York and, well, suddenly... Vandergelder! Oh, is he still out there? Go look. He's sitting right on that bench! Cornelius, are you sure this is an adventure? Oh, you don't have to ask, Barnaby. When you're in one, you'll know it, all right. How much money do we got left?
Not much, Cornelius. 40 cents for the train home, 30 cents for dinner, and 20 cents to see the whale. 90 cents. Why?
Well, when those women come back in here, we'll have to pretend to be customers. Customers, that's it. Maybe the best thing to do is to pretend that we're rich. That way we won't have to spend anything. We're just two gentlemen about town looking for hats. Why, hello there, Mrs. Here, Cornelius Hagel! Here, Barnaby Tucker!
My pleasure, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
We're two ladies about town looking for hats to Malloy with, and we were wondering if maybe,
He means we're two hats, and we're looking for one of us, you ladies, a lawyer.
we want a hat. For a lady, of course, and, well, everyone said go to Mrs. Malloy's because she's so pretty. Her hats are so pretty.
And so reasonable, Cornelius. As reasonable as under $1 would still leave us enough to see the whale.
Oh, you've got to pay him no mind, man. He's come all the way from Yonkers to see the stuffed whale, and he's all excited. Just keep an eye on the street, Barnaby, and maybe you'll see him pass by.
Is it big and black with mean little red eyes?
Yes.
Well, it's sitting right on that bench!
Excuse me, but did you say Yonkers, Mr. Hagel?
Yes, ma'am. And forgive me for saying this, but you should see Yonkers. And by that I mean, perhaps Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers as well.
I'm a widow, Mr. Hagel.
You are? Yo, Barnaby, she's a widow! Oh, that's too bad. I'm sure Mr. Malloy would have loved to see Yonkers, especially in that hat. On you, of course, not Mr. Malloy. May he rest in peace. You're Catholic, aren't you? Well, don't let that worry you. I'd be more than willing to change. Mrs. Malloy, if you should ever happen to have a Sunday free in the near future, well, I'd be more than willing to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Hagel, I might be there sooner than you think.
Oh, really?
You see, I have a friend who lives in Yonkers.
You do?
Perhaps you know him.
Well, perhaps we do.
Oh, it's usually so foolish to ask in cases like that. It's a Mr. Vandergelder.
Oh, Horace Vandergelder?
A Vandergelder stampede?
Oh, do you know him?
No.
Mr. Vandergelder is a substantial man and well-liked, they tell me.
A lovely man, Mrs. Malloy, has, only one fault as far as I know. He's, hard as nails. Oh.
Cornelius, I think.
No, I wonder if your friend might like this one.
Look out!
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
Begging your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Come out of there this minute!
Oh, help us, Mrs. Malloy. We'll explain everything later.
Really? Mr. Hackle? Mr. Tucker? I insist that you come out of there this instant or I'll be forced... Mr. Vandergelder!
Mrs. Malloy, I don't suppose Miss Levi is here, is she? Well, she was supposed to meet me on that bench 10 minutes ago. Well, she can go looking for me if she comes. When I make an appointment, I like it that people be on time. Oh, here. Here's a present for you. Chocolate-covered peanuts, unshelled. That's the expensive kind. Did I hear you talking with two men?
Men? Men, Mr. Vandergelder. Now, what would men be doing in a ladies' hat shop? Well, now let's go back into my workroom. I'm so anxious for you to see it.
Well, I saw it last week.
So you did. Well, Mr. Vandergelder, what's new in the hay and feed business? I understand you have 3 friends, all hard as nails.
What on earth are you talking about?
Yonkers, I hear it's a very beautiful city.
And who's been telling you about Yonkers, might I ask?
Nobody. A friend.
I got a friend? What friend?
Well, you see, he...
A
customer, Mr. Vandergelder. Someone quite well-to-do, as a matter of fact. He was in here earlier buying hats for ladies. Perhaps you know him. It's usually silly to ask in cases like this. It's a Cornelius Hackle. Ah!
Did you say Hackle?
Why, yes.
Well, he happens to be my head clerk is all. Really, Mrs. Malloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm going to give it to you. Why shouldn't you know Cornelius Hackle? Everybody in New York knows Cornelius Hackle. He's here at the operas and all the fashionable homes. Why, he's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
Impossible. He's only got $136.48, and I keep it in my own safe.
Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The Erie. Both.
It ain't the same man.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle. And who dressed up as a waiter at the Fifth Avenue Hotel and dropped an oyster down Mrs. Astor's? Oh, I can't say, but it was Cornelius. He's the playboy of New York. Now, Irene, don't deny it. I can see you were taken with him just like everybody else is.
Dolly, what are you saying? I've only seen this man once in my life. Really. Dolly.
Excuse me.
Oh, of course. Hold your tongue.
Oh, look here, if there's a man in that closet.
Mr. Vandergelder, you can't. It's too dangerous.
No man who hides in a woman's closet can frighten me, Miss Levi. Stand aside.
No man indeed, Mr. Vandergelder. I'm sure you'd make short work of any man. Those muscles, I can see them now rippling back and forth under your coat. Ripple, 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 back and forth, ripple.
Please stand aside.
Stand indeed, Mr. Vandergelder. That's exactly what the court will want to know when you're accused of entering that closet without a search warrant. I mean, what do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. Betsy Ross's flag is passing. Do you see him on the hill at Gettysburg? Neath that great triumphal arch. If you see him as he's passing through the graves of wrath, sip and march, march, march. Has this not affected you, sir? I came to this country at 14 years of age as an immigrant girl from a land who oppressed her people, and I must echo here the words of that great and patriotic American. Moses! I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. There's a tear-stained eagle passing through. You see him on the bridge at Waterloo. Neath that great triumphal arch. If you hear him singing Dixie in the shivered hay, stand up and march, march, march. I stand for America,
table.
Oh, what the
There
devil?
also happens to be a very simple explanation, but for the present, good afternoon.
Oh, good Lord, the whole room's crawling with men. I'll never get over it. I take it I'll see you later this afternoon, Mr. Vandergelder.
You certainly will, Miss Levi, with a certain young lady on the main float at the end of the parade. Good day, Mrs. Malloy.
Mrs. Malloy, I can explain.
I do not wish to hear any explanations, Mr. Hackle. Just you and Mr. Tucker do me the pleasure of leaving my shop at once, or I send for Officer Gogarty.
Oh, no. If you ask me, Irene, calling an officer's letting them off too easy. The law courts, that's where they belong. I've been adding up the legal offenses these two have committed, and believe me, you've got grounds for at least 2 writs, a non-compos mentis and a garnishee. Now, the first thing to do is show them you tried to settle it amicably first. Have dinner with them.
Dinner?
Is that absolutely necessary, Dolly?
It's the way things are done in the law, Irene. Dinner first, garnishee afterwards.
Well, if it must be, Mr. Hackle, Mr. Tucker, you may take Miss Fay and myself to dinner.
Delighted, Mrs. Malloy. I speak for Barnaby as well. Now I hear there's a lovely restaurant in the railroad station.
Oh, no. If the Harmonia Gardens is good enough for your fashionable friends, it's good enough for us. They say they have a lovely orchestra there, Minnie.
No, we couldn't do that, Mrs. Malloy. It's, not the money or anything like that. It's, well, just that,
It's the whale.
it's the whale. No, it isn't the whale. It's the dancing. They have dancing in a place like that, concerts, even exhibitions, and well, I don't know how. And it would take me weeks, months, years. Mrs. Dolly Levi, 33-year-old chief clerk's taught how to dance?
Now, it's simple, okay? You put one arm here and one arm here.
No, it's absolutely no use, Mrs. Malloy. I have no sense of rhythm.
Absolutely no sense of rhythm is one of the primary requirements for learning by the Gallagher Levi method. Just give me 5 minutes of your time, Mr. Hackle, and I'll have you dancing through the streets. Let's start with lesson 7, the waltz cake turn, okay? Right foot touch, left foot touch, back, unfurl, wonderful. When I dream of the woman who'll find heaven in your arms, let's go back to lesson 1. Put your hand on her waist and stand with her right in your left hand. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Look! I'm dancing! Well, I was.
Of course you were, Mr. Hackle. Take the someone whose arms you're in. Hold on to her tight and spin that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wow! I'm dancing!
Turn around, try floating through the air. Can't be a little more aesthetic.
Don't you think my dancing has a polish and a flair?
Well, the word I think I'd use is athletic.
Well, my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that I'm dancing, who cares if I ever stop? Look, everybody! I'm Cornelius Hackle and dancing!
You're next, Mr. Tucker. Slide and step, and then step and glide.
And everyone stand aside.
Look! He's dancing!
You can learn to poke it if you work a week or so. Or the tango, the passion scene.
I'm enjoying the chorus at the Castle Garden show.
Whatever you do, for gosh sakes, keep breathing. For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? Just say